Very good evening, everyone. It's almost evening. It's a glorious sunset happening outside. My name is Tadeu Baldani. I'm the director of Prototypes for Humanity. And this session is happening just before we host our yearly awards here at the Dubai Future Forum. We are incredibly privileged to be here today for the second year and for the awards to be taking place in half an hour from now. But before we do that, I think one of the big takeaways that we have from the forum is that thinking about the future and foresight and implementation goes hand in hand. And we are big proponents of the role of academia as a catalyst for that. I think as we look for solutions for very complex problems, we know, and this is our work, is to enable academia to do more and to contribute more to society. And for this conversation, I'm joined today by Professor Michele Magno, Professor Patricia Maguire, and Dr. Gnanli Landrou, who can help us to navigate what can otherwise be this complex equation of connecting academia and industries, which is one of the key hypotheses of what we do, that for implementation to take place, you have to collaborate. So to start, if I can ask you, Professor Patricia, across everything that we see and the pace at which technology is evolving, what is this evolving role of academia? What is the responsibility of universities staying truthful to what they have to do, but also keeping up or being at the forefront of technologies?
Thank you so much, Tad. So I think universities can no longer sit at the edge of the innovation pipeline. I think we need to be right in the center, in the middle. We need to be catalysts for innovation. We need to co-create. In my university, which is University College Dublin, we always say we need to break boundaries. And what I've been doing in my research over the last 10 years is bringing people together and leading teams, cross-functional teams. So bringing scientists, clinicians, data scientists, and also industry together to design and co-design solutions together. And I work very closely with industry, work closely with SAS, closely with Microsoft, and also some industry based here in the UAE, such as P4ML, which is led by Patrick Maloney. And I think, this model of being this catalyst of innovation, we really need to go and move as universities. We need to move from just being centers of academic excellence to being centers for innovative excellence.
Thank you, Patricia. Michele, just following on from that question, I know that within your department at ETH, you foster a lot of collaborations between industry and academia. What are the key takeaways? What are the big learnings? Because I think when we look into the future, we want that to be multiplied by tenfold so we can accelerate adoption process. What are the key takeaways from your experience in collaborating between academia and industry?
Yeah, so thank you for the question and for the invitation. Actually, my experience with this cooperation, it's very nice, it's very important, as you mentioned. And I agree also with Patricia that we need to go out of the research field. And my experience with having a cooperation with industries that they really can give us real problems. And I strongly believe that the research needs to go in real problems. And also it's important to notice that the industry partners are very happy with our cooperation because basically we can often solve the problem or show them an innovative way to solve their problems or to show how their technology can work in real field. So it means that both we gain, so the industry find an innovative way to solve their problem or also an innovative way to face new problems. So I feel it's very important for this kind of cooperation, and both the research partner and academia and the industry can gain from this experience. And on top of it, so we have really a close cooperation to see where the innovative direction are. So I think it's quite important to have this cooperation.
And how does that dynamic work? Because I think that is the gold standard, right? Is that industry and academia converge. You find the commonalities, you find the things that are relevant for the industry, the things that your academic capabilities can fulfill, and then you choose that as a joint North Star, so to speak. What are the things that make sure that happen, Michele?
So basically, as I mentioned, so I think it's very important that we talk each other. So it's very important they come with clear goals in their field of experience. And also it's very important that we take our expertise in our field. So for example, just to give an example, I'm very expert on innovative intelligent sensors. This can be applied from the technology perspective to generate new sensors and new processors, but also to face some novel application in terms of robotics, wearable devices, smart glasses that can exploit this innovation in sensing in a real field to generate eventually products that help the people to their products.
Thank you. I want to now talk to Dr. Gnanli because we do believe in the incredible power of academia and then the need for bridging mechanisms that transfer knowledge from academia to the world. One of them is through collaborations with industry, which is what we just discussed. But the other one, which we also do at Prototypes, is enabling ventures. I think that is also a very productive way of allowing that innovation and solutions that are developed inside labs, they go and find the customers and the markets they were designed for. You have a stellar career at ETH, and then in 2019 you set up a company that is looking to disrupt a pretty big issue in the industry globally, which is the cement industry. What were the bottlenecks, or maybe in a more positive perspective, Dr. Gnanli, what were the things that helped you in that journey, that facilitate and accelerate your journey from lab to market?
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I think that's quite an important question here when we are talking about the roadmap bringing an innovation to market, and specifically in an industry quite conservative like the construction industry where I'm operating. Here the role of the public sector play a role, like the city, how they can enable innovation to make the first leap to the market or kind of support them in a first demonstration or proof of concept to demonstrate to the industry that the technology is worthwhile investment and also focus on is quite key. The other aspect I see is really the IP, because as kind of entrepreneur and innovator from the academia, what you come out with is this knowledge that you have worked over the past years to create, kind of formulate it as an IP. So how do you make this IP available and accessible so that you are able to translate it to the market is also important. So the current methods still need to be improved there to kind of enlarge the access to the IP, not only from academia to industry, but also from academia to also the public sector. I think this is quite important. And to the topic that you mentioned and then you asked my colleague Michele, I think we should be careful here to understand that there is a particular relation between academia and industry, but we shouldn't also neglect the relation academia and the public sector, because the industry might focus on topics that are not necessarily relevant for the society as a whole, or to improve or enable kind of an emergence of a better society, whereas the public sector goal is how do you enable a better society for all, right? So if the industry align with the societal goal, I think that works, but in case it doesn't align, that's where it's quite important to find out what are the mechanisms there, and that's quite an important topic to discuss.
That is so interesting, because sometimes we think about, or when we're having discussions, about what are the roadblocks or the bottlenecks. Quite often people say regulation and policy, and I think the perspective that you're adding is that maybe through smart regulation and smart policies, you actually push for more innovation as opposed to become a hindrance. Is that the thinking?
Yes, clearly. I think it's the policy and regulation need to be obviously framed in collaboration. You have these three-party that are quite important: the public sector for the policy making, the industry to commercialize and bring market adoption, and also the academia where the creation, the innovation is coming in. So these three parties need to happen. And that's the route we took with Oxara. Like, we didn't go right away for the industry. We kind of leveraged the public funding to be able to demonstrate our innovation. And that's also through prototype. What we really appreciate is that as kind of a public entity enabling the innovation to be implemented in Dubai on behalf of the Dubai city, enable then the industry player to see that this is quite an important innovation, and then to jump on the track and then say, okay, how can we bring it, or how can we collaborate together? And I think that's quite an important aspect.
Thank you, Gnanli. Patricia, one of the themes of the forum is reimagine health. And I'm obviously very curious about what still excites you when you look at the landscape of technology. Yeah. We were just having a conversation in the green room about technologies that are accelerators of what you want to do. Yeah. What are those areas? What are the things that excite you, that you really wish to see more happening, and that keeps you awake at night?
Yeah, it's really integrating AI into healthcare. And, you know, my colleague just said it beautifully. You know, it's a privilege to be in academia. We develop innovative new products, new thinking all the time, but if it sits on my laptop, it's no good to the world. We need to really give back societal good, and as well as economic growth, of course. So I couldn't agree more. And really, that's, I think, the nexus at where academia sits in this. So right now, we have a one-size-fits-all healthcare across the world. And this needs to become personalized. How do we make it personalized? And it's really integration of all the data available with better diagnostics. And that's, I suppose, that's what I am passionate about, and I'm passionate about that in the area of maternal care. And, you know, in terms of, you know, several projects that we've brought together, bringing in academia, the best of clinicians, the best of data scientists from industry, and bringing that all together to try and drive forward maternal care projects across the world in terms of giving more personalized care. And why am I saying this? What keeps me awake at night, Tad? And you know what keeps me awake at night is that still every 60 seconds, either an expectant mom or a baby will die because of a complication of pregnancy that we can prevent. It's every 60 seconds. That's what keeps me awake at night. And I really think bringing together good diagnostics, better diagnostics, AI and healthcare together, delivering the right information to clinicians and care providers at the right time can absolutely save lives. And this is one of the projects that I'm leading out on. It's called AI Premi, and that's what we're trying to do. And it's to diagnose and risk stratify this disorder of pregnancy at the right time. But also, if you go right back to the start of pregnancy, and this is what we brought to Prototypes for Humanity, is new diagnostics that can actually predict a mom who will get sick. And if you can predict she will get sick, you can give her aspirin, a really cheap drug. And you can stop her from getting sick later on in that pregnancy. And not only do you enable a better So the baby will be delivered at a later time in the pregnancy, so they'll be born later, which is great and much better for their quality of life and their community, but also economically. But also, which is really intriguing, is if you stop a mum getting sick during the time she's pregnant, you can also protect her later in her life and give her better longevity. So it's incredible what we can do.
Thank you, Professor. And thank you for bringing those innovations to prototypes and to Dubai through prototypes. Michele, we had a relatively controversial conversation backstage about what you think. It is really exciting what is 2015, I think, as you mentioned. But in your space of applied robotics, applied AI, smart sensors, what are the things that when you look at actual applications for what the problems that we have now are exciting? What do you think the big opportunities are?
Yeah, I really feel that actually Patricia brought a very interesting example that I will expand with robotics, that actually to monitor these people in health, you need a continuous monitoring. And actually many people are still talking about generative AI, agentic AI. In academia, actually we consider, most of us consider it the prehistory. This is actually the easier job that AI can do is generating text, but actually, or pictures. But actually, what is really the exploitation of AI for the future is concretely work in the physical world. AI is not some things that run in a big server. AI is some things that need to run in a small sensor that with you. A small robot, a smart patch, drones, robotics are going alone, is why more complex the generative AI. It's more complex because you need to have sensors that are better, processors that are better, work with small batteries or battery that, or processors that can run in vehicles, for example, or in smart patches. So the next generation of futures, in my opinion, for AI is what we call the physical AI, AI that is running in a physical devices. This can enable the robot to be more intelligent, the cars to run alone, the drones to flying alone. And this, you don't need to generate anything. You need to have sensors, AI. AI is also not something magic, not a black box. Are models that are taking decision inside the sensor, close to the sensor. So this can enable from the health, from nanorobots, for smart patches, robotic, whatever we are wearing with it, that can be the real revolution. So I really feel that the real revolution AI is when we are able to bring them on the robotics or in general to computer that can go around us. This is not something that is even so much in the future, something that is happening. And also go back to what I was mentioning before, something is complex. So actually we need in academia to work with the companies. For example, NVIDIA, but others are doing an excellent job, are talking with us, saying what you will need to run these models or these intelligent AI in a small platform. And they want to do a small platform that are for robotics. And same for the sensor. People are producing sensor today, are thinking how this sensor can be embedded close to the NVIDIA processor or other processors. And this is actually coming with a combination of partners. I think to run this idea, it's not only software people doing AI that are bringing a new model, but are people from the processing, from the sensing, from the academia, from the use case for the one as the problems. For example, we need a robot or it can be a robot, but in general, some entity that is more intelligent that can work in our buildings, can do dangerous jobs. So I don't feel AI is stealing jobs. I feel AI can, or in general, this physical AI, this robot, can bring to a next generation of humans that we can do, we can, let's say, give it to the robot to do the boring job or the dangerous jobs, and we can do the creative job. And it's where I feel very excited to be part of.
Okay, thank you, Michele. And Gnanli, if I may go back to you and to double click on the ideas of entrepreneurship and venture building as an avenue between lab and reality. You've been coming to Dubai, well, you first showcased your solution here 2 years ago, and you have a successful venture growing in Switzerland. From our past conversation, remember that you can take up every call that you have because you're overwhelmed already by people calling you up. Nevertheless, I know that you're committed to seriously looking to setting up here. As a matter of fact, you are setting up in Dubai. What do you see the opportunities here to be for someone that is trying to innovate in the space of sustainability, new materials, backed by science? What is exciting you about the opportunities in Dubai?
So I think to answer the question, I will start with what actually we are doing so that to bring the context. Basically, I founded, after my PhD at ETH, a startup called Oxara, which means community, and the essence is there. How do you build sustainable housing and affordable housing for future generation without destroying the planet, as we say it? So for me, it was a lot about innovation for impact, not innovation just for money, but for impact. And so in Switzerland, we are quite successful. We kind of grow, and then we have most partnership that we have. But being from Togo, where I'm grown up, it's important, how can I bring the technology back to the continent? And how can I prove that we are able to create a new future that doesn't rely necessarily on the cement that emits most of the CO2 in the world, 8% of global CO2, but also consume a lot of resources. About 10% of global resources goes into that. And for us, a gateway for the African market is Dubai. And applying to the prototype and being part of the prototype venture program, it's really to scale outside of the Swiss market our innovation on a kind of growing industry that can provide the necessary regulatory environment, but also funding, and is also open for new innovation to come and deploy the technologies, right? So for me, it's really key to be here in Dubai and to see that convergence of excitement and new idea, but also the openness and eagerness to embrace innovation. Obviously, over the years after Dubai, we are looking to the African market, where the construction will be taking place the most for the next 20 to 30 years. Therefore, for us, it's more than urgent to make the shift, and we will be incorporating our business here by end of the year and starting operation 2026. So I think that's really where we see Dubai playing an important role, like Dubai as one, but also the UAE. Yes.
Thank you, Gnanli. And I don't think it's a coincidence that we are here together, because the work that we do is only possible through collaboration, joint effort, joint vision. That is the spirit of the program, which is the Dubai Future Solutions, Prototypes for Humanity. It is bringing academia, entrepreneurs, industry together, and have opportunities like this one right now to speak with such an amazing audience. Following up, we have the awards for this year's Dubai Future Solutions Prototypes for Humanity. Thank you very much, Professor Michele, Professor Patricia, Dr. Gnanli.